Call to order tonight's Parks and Rec meeting.
Sharon, Barrett,
Here.
Johnson,
Here.
Ansman, Wisniewski.
Here.
Kimball,
Here.
Fox,
Here.
Miller.
Here.
We have four. Thank you.
Approved meeting minutes.
Those are the meeting minutes.
I can move to approve. I'll second.
All those in favor? Approved meeting minutes.
Aye.
Any nays? Discussion items. We're jumping right in with Selfridge Park.
Which I'm already on the playground on this. Okay, so I have the budget or the current numbers for the playground right here. So this is the inclusive playground over at Selfridge Park. These were the last update we received from Megan at Gerber Leisure. This is the cost for just a singular colored port in place. So we have three options of port in place. We have single color, dual color, and river that runs through the playground or play structures. But this is the cost without the additional colors. What was it, like the dual color was like 1,000?
Yeah, 1,300.
1,300 more, and then the river was 3,000 some odd dollars more. So the options here, here's the above view. So this is just, I think it's sandstone is the color, just one singular color for the structures. So Adam, and I sat down with Megan and picked out the colors for the playground structures too. So this is the rendering with the colors that we all chose together. Here, let me zoom in a little bit. So we have the smaller one is the 2 to 5 year old structure. This one's 5 to 12. And then there's like a little interactive panel there in the middle here. So there are like animal footprints that are hidden all around. The structures are I think they're just on the structure themselves, right? And then the kids have to find them, that's what that is. And a little tic-tac-toe. And all the little riders here in the swing set. So that was option 1, just that singular color. Here is,
Go back to just showing, so to take kind of a step back, the committee last time we met, we picked this structure, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this
It
was,
looks different.
Well, because they put the colors on it.
there's a few differences, right?
Yeah, there is some.
So-
Can you explain what the differences are?
Yeah, so when we originally went into this, we had a budget of around $200,000, right? And what they proposed with port in place was something like 220, okay? It originally had a spinner, right, like a spinning,
it was over here.
right over there. And it had like one bobble and not, which is that little rider thing, and then it didn't have the butterfly, yes. So the structures itself, and I believe there was a third bay for swings, okay? So we went back and said, look, we gotta make some adjustments to this. And the real challenge was the spinner. Because the spinner has a radius around it, a clearance zone, that is like 12 feet. So when you design these, it's not like they come in and they like, well, we put this here, and the slide, for example, has like a 4-foot clearance on the bottom of it. Everything has a clearance zone. So if you have something that's more robust, like a spinner, that is more aggressive, has this large, so what that does is it amplifies then the port in place. So what we really did was take the core of the park there and put in the exact same two main structures, the treetops, the motion. We cut down on the bays for the swings because, again, swings have a large radius, fall zone. And then we put in the 2 riders to get it down approximately $13,000, okay? Then the middle part is the sign, which has a tic-tac-toe and a go find the pause throughout the, okay? So colors were then selected based on that to meet the kind of nature theme. So there was a lot of greens, and this is what we would propose for the site. So I don't know if you want to see the original, but it's I don't know if you have it.
I'd have to search my email. Let's see here.
And it would have been in the packet.
Is that one right
Sent
there?
to us, yeah.
That one is the
That's-
green bottom.
Oh, that's,
It's not this one right now.
nope, not that one.
No, it's older.
It was when I was gone.
Yeah.
August,
This one?
Mm-hmm. It's still live.
I don't know.
That's probably not live anymore.
Mm-mm.
But
No.
wasn't it sent to us? I don't think it was a link to send, I mean, the packet that was sent to us, weren't you also included on those emails? Who sends us the park and rec, to get ready?
But that
Karen?
that was still a link, that was still the same link.
Yeah, but
So-
didn't we get doesn't Karen send us, we went through this last time, wasn't it a PDF?
I don't know.
I don't remember if that one was.
What was-
There was a couple that were.
There were a couple
that
that were
were-
bunch of
Email with them on.
Yeah.
files.
Just look at that.
There's a whole bunch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just bring it up.
Can we find Karen's email for that? Let's see.
I get less emails from the city.
It's just- Yeah, you have to just unplug and try to find the email from Karen. That would have been from,
Yeah, what day is
it
it?
would have been August 20th. In the realm of August.
August 19th, I believe. Or 13th?
What day?
That's the RFP.
I only have one email in August. Maybe it didn't get sent to me?
It probably was
No, I don't have it.
sent.
It's the only thing I have. Common council.
August 13th at a loose end.
I sent something probably.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
That's the one.
that was the
See,
skate park, I
it
just looked it
says-
up.
RFPs for Selfridge Park Playgrounds, August 13th, you sent one.
Yeah, the 13th one is for the skate park.
And that has all the proposals.
Okay, let me forward this
Did I find it? No, this is Lee.
Yeah, I mean.
I might not have sent
This is which one I'm looking
I think I have it here.
at.
Yeah, bird company.
Is her.
Yeah.
What else is there?
It says, oh, the password is
It's on
playroom.
a drive. Okay.
Don't think you're gonna be able to pull that off.
That's-
Is that one for,
The Gerber Leisure one, she sent a link.
Yeah, it's a link.
And the
you
password
have to
is
put
hard.
order in, and then you have to go into option like 1 and 2, it says, under.
Yeah, it just pops this up.
That's where you have the 3 swings and then.
Oh, it's actually showing up for you.
Yeah, picture. Yeah, I have to go to option 1 and then there's PDF files there that you.
I got it, I think. There we are.
Plug
Sorry.
Well, we can't get that one anyway, so I don't
it. So the original here was a much larger swing set, a much larger area, and the green is the poured in place, the brown is basically wood chips. And we wanted to not do wood chips because they are, while they're less costly than poured in place, they need to be maintained regularly. And you can see from a spacing perspective how much larger this has to be because of that.
How much space you need.
That thing it has a radius around it for a safety zone. And so we looked at that and said, what do we want this to look like with the core of the treetops and the motion? So we got rid of some of these other swings and kept it more simple to what is already there. Basically, right now at the site is a larger playground, a smaller playground, swings, and a couple of riders. So it hits 2 to 5, as well as 5 to 12. And so the treetop and that is more for the older kids, and then and then the motion is smaller. So we've kind of taken this and updated it to what is now this, and been able to kind of shrink it down to get less square footage, and put them kind of closer together and get all poured in place. Okay, and that's really the goal, is poured in place versus wood chips. And then we were able to add the butterfly rider, which is more of your 2 to 5 or 2 to 12. You can have the younger kids ride the butterfly versus the bobble rider is more there. And then we added another bench on the side over there. And then the swing set, there's 2 baby swings and 2 traditional more belt swings. There are not larger swings or parent-kid swings and things like that. Honestly, because those are king. Those swings are what people use and are used to, and the other ones are they're contraptions. It seems like more than they are swings. So in working with Gerber Leisure, we just said, look, let's get this as close as we can to a budget that's more manageable. So we're able to cut this down to this. And then design the colors out, and you can go through. There's a map about the floor in her thing about
The what?
the zones.
Oh, yeah, was that in the email?
Yeah, that was in the
Or in here?
file.
Oh, it's right here.
So
I was thinking
this is like what is required around each element. That is the safety zone. So they design all that out and they fit it in a smaller area, and so everything's spaced appropriately. So if there's any feedback about this versus what was originally looked at, certainly if you hate it now,
Colors, feel like, wow, your choice was bad, you can change that still, if you don't like something in it.
How does this sit on the property? Like, where would the road be on this picture?
we have to play with that. I think we can talk about that in the next conversation. There's an area that it would go. And some of the costs and how this gets installed will be dependent upon the bigger Selfridge project. but there's an area that we're comfortable in saying we can fit it in to. Well, I mean, you can. So it would be in
Which one's better?
this one. It would be in this area here, off the trail.
And that's where the current,
Yeah, it's pretty close. to
Yeah.
The
where-
playground is right here,
Yeah.
and the current like 3 or 4 elements that are up front are right here, but this is where the current one is. So it'd be moved somewhere in here to kind of connect, because you're going to have some borders
The pads around.
and paths around it for concrete and things. So all we have to do is get the CAD file to MSA and they can plop it in and make it fit appropriately in the park layout. So, you know, the work that's been done has really been to limit the cost and get the majority of things we want to get done, and for a smaller park area. I mean, it's not a giant park, right? It's not one of our big parks in terms of playgrounds. I think it you know, a lot of these elements, they all look the same and they function the same. So the decision here a little bit is as we look at doing other parks, right? Where we can go bigger and get maybe a little more creative with it, this is probably a good start in terms of budget and overall replacing what's there with something considerably nicer. So the budget still is a little over, and we just to take a step back too, we did iterations where we put new spinning things in, right? And it's like, okay, so you put this one in, the radius is less, but, or sorry, the cost is less, but the radius is more, because it's like a faster spinner, it's a more aggressive thing. Then there are other ones that you're like, oh, put this in, well, there's a smaller radius, but it looks more like the one out here where you're like hanging on it, and no one really knows how to use those. So it was just like, let's really try to become in the classic park of swings and play structure and riders, and that's what it costs, and you all pour it in place, because we just spent how much in
Almost 40,000.
40,000 in wood chips for all parks. You'll be every other year spending $10,000 in wood chips, and that is just not, it's not worth it at this point, where it's maybe for pour in place. What is the pour in place on it? $63,000. So you do that once, and you're good for 20 years. So you'll spend 10 grand every other year in wood chips. So the math is probably better to do pour in place. So this is the all-in based on how they would install it. With their staff, we talked about doing a community build, meaning the community coming out and help build to save money. Megan actually installed the treetops in another community, and they tried a community build, and it was a disaster. And she said, I would not recommend it if it's your first build, right? Because this is a pretty significant structure in terms of treetops with some of the elements that are there. So this is the overall view. Any questions, concerns? It's a really cool structure. It really is. And what it does do is hit every age group pretty nicely. So
I like it. I thought we were gonna talk
What does
about
it cost to add any more benches just for parents? Because there's only one bench over here.
I think there's 3 benches.
Okay, there are
two
two,
benches, I think.
Or at
Yeah.
least 2. I was thinking there was
just for parents to
Yeah.
watch.
One-
one there and
yeah, it's right over here.
yeah,
there's 2 benches, we certainly can add more depending on where it gets positioned in the park, you know. But those would be, I believe, in poured-in place, so they would not be movable. 'Cause we don't have any poured-in-place ones, so.
What about the swinging benches for adults? Does it cost that much more for those? We have them throughout the park over there.
Oh, the swinging ones?
Yeah.
We can add one, and there's.
Oh,
I
swinging,
see.
yeah.
really like that.
I do,
That's
I
a good
guess,
idea.
I like those.
No,
Oh, and there's that nice little loop space right over there, you stick one over there.
we certainly can,
Corner take now. It's driving me nuts.
with Selfridge Park in general, we can do some of those, and we can put one there, no problem, I think, if it
People like them.
fits.
I would think that we could possibly also add, I would assume, more benches and swings and things like that as part of the rest of the park revamp
Oh,
as
yeah.
well, and along the
That's a whole
trails.
other, it's a
Yeah,
whole other
so-
thing.
And one of them could happen to be near the playground and then there, yeah. Dual purpose, you know, picnic tables and things like that, so.
The porta place.
Yeah, so the next question becomes is, what do you want to do for port in place? Because there's options, and while it's very difficult to tell how this looks, because it is a
Single color picture.
it's not giving the right visual. But there are options for colors of the port in place. So we talked about doing a split color, kind of going, the green side is older and the beige side is where the younger kids are. And kind of splitting it that way.
And what is the cost difference?
It was 1,000,
It's on
there.
there.
It's on this one?
I think she had it listed.
In here.
If you go to that, literally, like, just
Oh,
look at
I'll
the
cover it.
Am I blind?
Is it there?
Oh,
Yeah.
1375.
Okay.
So 1375 for a 2 color.
Then we have our little river. That splits up the different zones, and I think of it as like the lily, this is how I see it, like the lily pads, it's like you're stepping into the older structure as you get older, or it's just a fake bridge for kids to play on.
I mean, if we did green and a river, then it just kind of adds to the park already having a river and 2 instead of 10 or
That
whatever.
was like three.
This is $3,440
Yeah, I know, I'm just saying.
more to do, whether you go green or you go beige, right, doesn't matter.
Right.
It's just, you're gonna have to then adjust the lily pads so they are brighter green and they shift. So it's not gonna be any more, it's just, do you want a river running through it? Or do you want a plain?
How does it weather and wear?
So she said the lighter color shows like more dirt and, but I don't know, like she didn't specifically say, it was just like the reds and
Let's go back a second.
this one,
No, go to the
this,
screen. Where there's the sample.
oh yeah, this one?
No,
Oh,
the sample of the poured place.
oh,
Okay.
There we go.
Yes.
it's confused, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. If you can see, they're actually, there's black mixed in.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it looks darker when you're on it than from the rendering. They just call out the color.
My concern is how much, I've been on hot surfaces like this, or, they do get hot, is my point. So the darker it is, the more heat it's going to retain. I guess my thought is regarding the river or not, or the different sides, I wish that they could tell us what is their research on the kids. Are they like trying to jump over it? Like, is it another play feature? Because just to pay $3,400, just to say it looks good, I would say absolutely not. But if they find that kids are, kind of pretending, and now we're saying we're building their imagination, which, anyone that cares about, again, in education would think, well, then that's fantastic. So I think I want to hear from them or from others if we think that it's going to build up their usability, their imagination.
I mean, personally, I walk along the river.
It definitely is like a play feature in itself, even though it's just the different coloring pouring place. Megan mentioned that.
She
when we
did
talked
mention
about
it totally, and people have done this where they've done like, circles, and then kids jump from circle to circle, or they've done rocks, right? And
Could rocks be in the river?
You could, right? It just, it adds
Rocks
cost.
instead
Yes.
of lily
It
pads,
adds, it adds
Or
cost. Every time you do something, it adds more. The issue is, with it is, doing one pour of this stuff versus having to kind of cut these out and do it, it just costs more money. That will absolutely be a play feature, adding to the value of, the play value of it. There will be kids that jump from the pads, there will be kids that fake swim in the river. They'll run it as a path, they'll do.
Yeah, as far as fading goes, I'm not too worried. Having been to the park in Oshkosh and the ones in Fond du Lac and stuff, the other places that are poured in place, I don't see any worry about like fading. Those ones all look great and they've been in for years, so.
I think Megan mentioned it was more of like the reds and like the pink park that we had in Ceresco. It was red at one point,
Oh,
pink. Like those colors fade faster than these would. But I think she said that like they haven't had issues with the poured in place, like from their projects fading.
No. I mean, everything wears over time.
Yes.
Where you'll have more wear on poured in place is around the spinner. Because kids are running
Yeah.
round and round and round. But most every other place, it's pretty. So ultimately, I think what we're kind of looking for, we have money in the budget to do this coming up. While it might be a little bit more than what we have in the budget, we have some other ideas for that, but what we're really looking for is what one do you want? We don't have to make a decision tonight about like color scheme, right? We can have them do green instead of beige or whatever, right? But what poured in place do you like, and are you okay with the overall layout and design?
Layout I'm good with, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that all looks good. Removing the spinner to bring everything together is fine. I personally like the river. I know my kids would like the river more.
Yeah, it just seems to have more movement, it looks,
It gives it some
It does.
movement and stuff.
yeah, it feels like there's a flow to it.
Yeah. And
I
it is,
agree.
like everybody said, it is, and will be a play feature.
I'm glad to hear you see like the layout, because last time you liked how much it was spread out, because you were talking about how kids like to run from item to item.
It did, but that was also the idea of having partial board in place and,
Yeah.
and so that we could have, saving money on having less board in place. That's part of where that was coming from too. If we're just gonna go all board in place, then, yeah, I'm good with
Because
this
of
layout.
For the layout on the park, and again, you said that's coming next time, but did we already close the case on, this is kind of where the volleyball court used to be, there's sand. Is there any sense of still saving that? Could it be resurrected as volleyball with that sand, or is there
You
no
would have
value?
to redig it, you would have to excavate the whole thing.
So there's no sense of, it would save us money to kind of use that space for volleyball?
Yeah, it would just be another, like, it was 30,000 to do Barlow's, it would just
It'd be the same?
30,000 to do
Okay.
another one, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Right, was it? And then also the river comes in, I know we don't have to decide colors, but they're like these three blues.
You blue.
You do, and I put the bait, I went like this, and then I pulled up, where'd that just go? I pulled up this, and I what did I do I somehow laid it out so I could like see the colors together. I don't know how I did it, but these are the colors of the structure, and these were the blues. So I kind of like looked at it side by side to like see what I thought would look best with the blues.
Probably the middle.
I like the middle too.
Yeah. some structures.
Middle's kind of more true water, is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It just
I like
seemed
it.
dark. And the other one seems more like Grimm's rings.
I think she said that this color was royal blue. I mean, it's hard to tell in this rendering, but I think she said this one was royal blue.
So we're all good on the structures. Do we all want to?
And then the animal tracks, you know, I mean, I like that the tic-tac-toe is, like movable and interactive animal tracks. I like nature, I don't know what you can do with the animal, maybe you can color over them.
So the animal tracks, see those medallions up top,
Yes, these are.
those little things?
Yeah,
What you do is you go and rivet them into the structures, and the kids go find them.
oh, so that's cool, so there's a purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love
yeah,
it.
there's
Yeah.
little
Love it.
hidden stuff all over.
Cool.
You gotta
Yeah.
find them.
That's something I haven't seen elsewhere, so that's kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it realistically, like, when we share this with MSA, get it placed in there, this concept goes live, you'll see in the next things about Selfridge Park. And Ashton's talked about doing some work with, kind of path, I can't remember what it's called, it's a play path.
Born learning trail.
So, you know, you can then begin integrating, say, animal prints in the trail, painted, right? And they can mimic what's already there, or lily pads, right? You can do that in the trail, and you can put up additional panels in the trail to further enhance some things and make it all kind of cohesive. So I think there's a lot of things that this can further inspire within the greater design of the park.
Do you even give room for like Boy Scout troops or Girl Scout troops to do their own
Yeah.
Eagle Scout projects where they add to local animal, you know, signs or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I love the lily pads in the river, and I think as long as we can agree as a committee that our talking point is not that, well, this is just because it looked good, I don't think any of us would. But the point is that this is, and it was confirmed, you said from them, that kids use this, it's a play feature in and of itself. Then, and if we can find money in the budget, I love it. And as far as the you know, I think I liked your idea of the middle blue, but if you said that it was royal, if you go back to that screen,
Yeah.
I think that was a sky blue, I mean, so you're saying they use the one on the left? I mean, if that's what they recommend. Part of me is a little bit concerned that a company that is featuring environment, you know, again, animals and caring about nature, is not giving some advice on, I really do think that, I used to run track, you know, like the black attracts heat, and what does that mean, larger environmental concerns? I wish that would just be a part of the presentation or consideration as to what is environmentally, or does it not make a difference?
I don't think it makes as much difference with the poured in place. The poured in place as I've experienced it, you need darker colors, it doesn't get as hot as the actual structure, right? The slides and things and the benches can get really hot. And that's why we went with the tones we did, of the greens, and there's very little black. We could have gone like a brown slide, but darker attracts heat. So while those look like they're mostly black in the track heat, they really don't. They are a little abrasive when kids fall if they go too fast. There's been issues in other places with that, but generally speaking, I don't know what's worse, falling on that or falling on a bunch of wood chips, but I'm guessing that's probably better.
Less
And-
slippers at least.
So I just don't, and I think, you know, some of the play structure there has some obviously canopy, and then we would look at planting trees around the area, not in the park, like we've done before, and then having trees fall on play structures, but to help with some of that as well.
Are we looking for a motion from us tonight?
A motion to accept and recommend a option or the design would be appreciated and forward to that to the council.
And there is, even though it's a little bit above the budget we had talked about, about $17,000, there was plans to pay for that.
We'll talk about that in a minute, but yeah, I mean, we're at that point where we're within a, we may not have all of it in the budget, specifically at 220,000, but we have 200,000, and then we have the greater project as well, so we can accommodate the additional 20,000 in the budget, yeah.
Motion to approve option 1 with a river?
I second it. I guess, or, I don't know, yeah.
Been seconded, and all those in favor say aye. All those opposed?
And I guess there should be discussion, just FYI, but I guess the discussion, so you asked us for color of the river.
We'll come back.
Okay.
There may be things that we have more than a few months to find, like the last decision we have to make is what the border place is. It's like the last decision.
Or she said like a couple, like, it was a very short amount of time before we actually did the project, we needed another working place.
I'm guessing we're not going to break ground until spring.
No,
Oh, and my addition was I like to consider swinging benches.
Just like that in there.
Alright, so next would be the grant application.
if you want to go to the park design too quickly, and
Yes.
just talk this over, I can do my best to explain everything here. Just giving you all a quick update on the rest of that project itself, Rich, I'll kind of show you and walk you through. So we've met with MSA, they began planning out, and this is preliminary yet, so there'll be things that morph over the next few weeks. But, so they have kind of new playground being put in here, so that's would be wherever in this general area. Here is the existing bathroom. So we're gonna shelter, so we have to like, mount new electrical there, get everything kind of moved from there, or from over where there's an existing shelter to over there, because there's this electrical panel that's just hanging out there. Sideways, so we're moving all that to there. You can see then the trail kind of goes through that area. The area here was just excavated. That project is done. Lion Energy got that figured out. So there'd be some proposed sidewalk connections to connect then to a trail that's kind of offset from the road. So it's not like a traditional sidewalk, it's offset a little bit, just so you get the park, playground a little bit further off. And we would only have one trail going across there. It jogs back through here because of snow storage. There's no place to put snow, so and there's a hydrant right on the corner, so this is all kind of messed up. So we're trying to avoid that area. You see it goes along the pond, and there are proposed bench. There's some riprap area that we would do, and then there's a proposed north here and a proposed south here. So we'll talk about that and get into design of that and let you guys see that before we finalize anything. There's a proposed overlook with like a seated wall and maybe some poured concrete or something up there to make it kind of a point that people can look out into. So we would also put in, or at least get conduit in for lighting, bollard lighting along it. You can see then more seating, and then a new 30 by 50 structure. So there'd be more of your traditional, you'd replace the old, I don't know if it's an octagon or a septagon, whatever it is. And it's some bike racking. And if you go down to the next one, this is where the area gets a little bit funky, because there's some stormwater that needs to be done in the road, and that's a whole different issue, but ultimately, you'd be kind of taking the parking lot and doing something like this. There needs to be stormwater retention, so we have to put a pond in, and then there's a proposed kayak launch, and then some rip wrapping, connecting them to the skate park area right there, you know, so it doesn't encroach on that or anything. Connecting back over to, I think that was that Spring Street or the little cul-de-sac there. The idea here is just to do an unimproved, aggregates path to connect that for the time being, and then look at doing a small boardwalk bridge to replace this old concrete thing that doesn't really service anything. So a couple more benches through there, but we're coming through that, so we just wanted to give you an update on that. I would assume that within the next month or two, we'll have a more final plan, but that's what it's looking like so far. So if there's any immediate feedback to the layout or the kind of overall site, just let me know. We're happy to adjust things or take into consideration. We're not getting into what benches we're putting in there yet. We're not doing, this is just, we're still.
Well, apparently we want some swings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's plenty of options there. We gotta kind of decide to what kind of kayak launch, what kind of fishing gear, so we'll kind of vet that out and bring those things forward. But overall, we're on pace to have this, you know, ready to go and get out next year.
Did I hear you say the current structure where the restrooms are and that indoor area to sit would be gone under this, or is that still
The
there?
current structure would stay,
Okay,
yeah,
That's
and the new structure would go kind of right there, so it'd be kind of a new, we don't know what size or what it's gonna look like totally, but it'd be your traditional, just more park shelter, maybe prefabricated park shelter with a metal roof, something that's just newer and matches and looks nice, and then picnic tables underneath it. One that you can more rent. The one out there is kind of small for renting out.
Yeah,
So-
gazebo size. kind of.
Yeah, it's the little gazebo thing.
Yeah.
is this, and I'm not advocating it for it because we have the downtown ice skating area, but I don't know the history of why we stopped ice skating out there. Is it because with potential open water, it's deemed now unsafe? Or is it just because, well, when someone, you know, when we had our downtown one, there was no longer a need? Like, is that something to think about, keeping that as an option to ice skate someday back out there?
I don't think that there's anything that would stop somebody from doing it. It's just, you know, is it, who monitors it? I mean, you know, it's more of a do at your own risk, kind of like swimming out there. If you can go swim out there,
That's awesome.
you know, at your own risk, you know. You know, I don't know if there's a huge desire for that. I don't know if other property owners down there that abut the pond, you know, just go off their property and create an area. I don't see that. I don't know how, but if somebody wanted to, I don't think it would be an issue for them to do it. I think do people ice fish out there? I'm pretty sure there have been people that
I haven't
ice
seen
fish.
it.
I don't know.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, so,
Well, I think once they dredged it, the
yeah.
fishing is not the same.
So it certainly is something that somebody can use the trail and use the things to get there. We wouldn't necessarily easily,
Okay, this is actually, it's interesting you say, do they fish? So the reason why, let's take a step back, why I think that there used to be that area where there was sand, where people are not swimming, are we going so far to say that we know as a city the water is safe to both swim in as well as to fish in? And not safe as in like you might drown, but safe as in water quality? Do we know, I mean, this is the rumors in the community, right? That I wouldn't eat fish from there, you hear it all the time. Is that not true? And do we know that it is it is a great place to fish.
I think for like a sportsman, like a sports person who's going and trying to get like,
No, that's not what I mean.
No,
I mean,
it's
there's
not.
a reason why that there's like the safety, you know, I mean, isn't there some, I don't wanna, isn't there some concern about contamination in this area? This is why the DNR is working in that area. Am I?
so it's a former coal ash site.
Exactly.
Okay, so they just did a project in the area, right, to remove contaminated soils.
Right, so I don't see families,
So there's
yeah.
there's a cap to the north where the proposed riprap is, where it stops there, right? And all the way to the other one, where the proposed riprap is. In that general area, you can see a tarp. That they have a cover going into the pond, right? To cap potential contamination. So there is a tarp in the pond that caps it from an old coal ash site. I'm not going to sit here and say that this is the cleanest, right, most safe body of water, right? It feeds Silver Creek, it's runoff from the entire Silver Creek watershed, right? So there are things that come in on runoff. It's certainly not as crystal blue as the river that we're gonna put in the park. Playground.
Well, I think it's important for us, you know,
I get what you're saying, if we're adding fishing piers, then people should know that it's safe to fish.
yeah,
It's not, like I said,
It's not
really, the fishing here is meant probably more for younger kids and families to go, you know, catch some bluegill or small panfish. This is not a tournament type lake where you're going and trying to catch giant fish. There are some big fish in there, no doubt. And it's a place where you can go to, and if you want to eat them, there are plenty of bodies of water that are contaminated, including
Green Lake.
Big Green Lake is
Winnebago.
They're all
I
contaminated.
used to fish right down the street from Sticky's Point, you know, where they're dumping.
Green Lake is an impaired lake. It is
Yeah.
classified as impaired. So, you know, ultimately, we're not putting in areas to go, swim, right? We're not doing beaches, we're not doing that. Because frankly, people's perception of it is that, but if these provide access points that provide, I think, a little bit more safer and accessible areas where people can go have more fun.
Yeah, because I do see lots of kids going down there to fish, and it would be better
Yeah.
if it's safer to fish from up here than it is to, you know, try and pull them up over the rocks and whatnot, so.
good, great.
So,
A lot of.
Or I see a lot of them trying to fish off the dam.
yeah.
They're not even catching anything, though, but, you know.
I've had people ask me too if you can go, like if you can take a kayak or something. So people are like unaware that you can actually do that. They're about to put the kayak in the water, but and then they're like, can we put this in here? So like it's I don't know, good to.
Kayaks and canoes, I think,
Yes.
are perfect for that,
Yes.
you know? It's
Yeah.
really a great pond for that type of activity. Not motorboats, not, you know, jet skis, it's not.
Is there any models for cities that have provided where you could almost rent a kayak or
Yes.
canoe? Could
They
this be?
have, it's like a structure, and then there's an app, and you're able to rent it, and it'll open up, and you can get a kayak out, and then go, and then you put it back. It's a thing.
We're a couple years away.
Yes.
You gotta build interest first.
But that's the overall layout, we just wanted to share with you quick.
Nice. We on to Horner Park site furnishings
Grant
there?
application.
Oh,
We still got the.
Yes, the grant, so,
Wait,
there,
can I ask before I go, what does it say, by others? New playground by others?
That's by Gerber Lee. So,
Somebody else is doing
yeah,
work.
they're,
other than that.
other than
Other than the
MSA.
people that drew this map, they're just saying that a new playground is gonna go here, but we don't know anything about it because it's being done by others.
Yeah. So once we get them the CAD file, they can put it in.
But look, there's an arrow up to the top.
Because they didn't know where. it was
They wouldn't
going.
know where it was going.
But that whole area is kind of unused right now. So there, in the future, there could be something, that whole top, if you move up, if you move your cursor up.
That is the area that was just,
No, up,
Yeah.
that was the area that was just, taken out,
Down by the.
and.
this one, right there.
Right there.
Yeah.
That's all,
That's the contaminant.
It's
That's-
currently dirt, yeah.
It's-
but we could
it's
do
capped.
something there.
Eventually, yeah.
It's capped, so
Yeah.
what
You
we
feel like
can't do, what they're saying we shouldn't do is go down more than 2 feet.
Got it, got it.
They go up.
Eventually.
We don't wanna go there.
Okay.
Be nice for us.
Yes.
So the grant, the T-Mobile has a hometown grant, is what it's called. So this is a $50,000 grant. They give it to 25 communities, I think it's quarterly, if I understand correctly. So I'm currently applying for this to go towards the Selfridge Park project, and it would specifically go towards kayak launch and fishing piers. And I need 5 letters of support, and it would be awesome if I could get a letter of support from the committee to go for the grant application. It doesn't specifically say, like, I have it up here, actually. It just said, it just says upload 5 letters of support for your project. And it community organizations, local government agencies, yada yada, you guys. So that would be great if I could, I don't know how we would go about that, or,
We'll just draft it and have the chair sign it if you guys want.
yeah.
Yeah, that's important.
Thanks for taking the initiative.
I support getting grants.
Yeah.
Was that a part of the DNR grant that we had?
This one's different, so that's separate, yeah.
Oh,
Totally separate, but.
So we have the DNR grant, so which got like 420,000 for Selfridge. The match required for the DNR grant is 50/50. What this would essentially do is, there's no restrictions on how you get that other 50%, so we could use this as costs. Yeah.
That's great.
So we can draft.
It sounds like you're gonna get 4 others in, I don't need to know what
Yes.
I mean,
No.
that's super.
Yeah, the Boys and Girls Club I reached out to, diverse options. Bill gave me one PD, according to the chamber,
Yes.
and then you guys.
Cool.
A lot of it, we're trying to hit on accessibility and whatnot, so that's why I like diverse options. And Boys and Girls Club, they're right next to it. They helped out. They gave a letter of support for the stewardship grant too. So we'll be going for this. So that'll be great.
Warner Park, site furnishing?
Yes. So if you guys have not been to Warner Park since the path has been done, here are a few pictures. I love the shadow. So the path goes along the whole shoreline right here, goes right here, and then there's a path that comes along here, which is in this photo right here. So there's 2 concrete pads. One is right here in this photo. Other one is obviously right here. So the other one was over here. So they sit along the shore, and so we're looking to get some benches and some Adirondack chairs for the concrete pads. I was hoping to have a rendering by today, but they didn't get it to me. So I have the benches and chairs that we're looking into getting. We currently, in the quote, is the embossed recycled plastic mahogany, or not mahogany, the embossed recycled plastic, which is, you can't see it now, but right outside this window, the tables, and then out there, the tables and benches, that it's the same company. That color, if you remember it, is the mahogany color, which is this. I think it looks totally different on the computer. It looks a lot nicer in person. And currently, what's on those is the galvanized steel. So honestly, we can pick any color. This is wood, so we wouldn't go with this IP. But these 4 are the embossed recycled plastic. So I don't know if anybody, if you guys have any personal preferences, or if there's one that you think would look nicest next to that area. And then also they have the powder coated steel that you can also pick. Looks terrible, but you can pick a lot of different colors for the steel as well. So, and this would
I would
be,
want to know the maintenance difference. Does powder coated have better maintenance? Is there a reason why, and does it go up in price?
it doesn't, not with this. It does with the difference between the embossed recycled plastic and the recycled plastic weathered, whatever color it's red with. Though that's the one that increases the price.
You can see out there, kind of comes down to the environment they're in, but just out on the patio, we went not powder coated, we went with galvanized, I believe because of just less maintenance over time with them.
So you're saying galvanized has less maintenance than powder coated?
Yeah, I believe so, because anytime, like downtown, everything's powder coated, but it depends on what you want it to look like. It's not gonna be a big.
If a powder coat gets a chip, then it's
Yeah.
gonna look bad.
I see what you're saying.
Galvanized is always gonna look galvanized.
Yeah.
I think it's the difference.
You gotta have the right, matching color coat to fix the chips and stuff like that.
And from since those tables and chairs or benches have been out there, I don't think I've seen a single scratch or from what I've seen on them since they've been installed. They were installed, was it earlier?
They're about a year and a half old.
Yeah.
No, you have to try to scratch
Yeah.
galvanized.
And these would be bolted to the ground, whereas like the tables up here aren't because they're like over 800 pounds and you'd have to use like a forklift or something to move them. But these would be bolted into the concrete. So I don't know if anybody has like a preference on the color scheme.
I think it would look nice to have it cohesive with all the parks in town personally,
It makes total sense.
as far as.
That's what this one, it's the mahogany, this is what is outside this building right now, with the galvanized.
So you're just calling it
Looks
now,
good.
mahogany is the official bench color of it.
Okay, now real quick, so this
Have
one
a
is more
red
expensive versus the one?
Versus the recycled plastic. So this is embossed recycled plastic, this is recycled plastic.
I mean,
The recycled plastic has a very smooth finish. The embossed has like a real wood type. It feels,
okay, thank you.
it just feels more natural.
That's helpful.
I bet it's inside.
You won't really go wrong, and I think she had a quote, and it's
Yes.
just kind of keeping it under a certain number.
Yeah. $7,665.72. That is for one 8-foot bench. Oh, I didn't show the other ones yet. So the other ones are chairs. So they're Adirondack chairs. So there's 2 adults in the quote and 2 children, child chairs, however you want to say that. So these would be on the separate slab. So one slab would be like an 8-foot bench bike rack, and like a handicap space. And the other one would be the 4 Adirondack chairs, a handicap space in a bike rack. And the bike rack is currently what is up here too, and that is the Ripon.
So if you look at the slab, right, if you pull up the slab, on this one, you do like a bike rack, a space, and then an 8-foot bench, right?
They're 20 feet long.
So if it's 20 feet long, so you have a place for somebody in a wheelchair to stop, or just have a little area next to the bench with the bike rack to park a bike. On the other one, you would have kind of the same with bike rack, space, little Adirondack, big Adirondack, big Adirondack, little Adirondack.
I like it.
I love the idea of Adirondack, because we don't have that in another park, and I just think it sounds cool. My question is for this location, are you sure, you kind of sit back. I love Adirondack chairs. I think the Greenlight Conference Center has them out on the pier, because you're kind of sitting back in the water, and it feels awesome. Are you sure, that we're gonna be able to see the reason why the chairs are there? Like the river?
Because it's so low.
Yeah, that is, I like the idea, and maybe even for the other part, put Anna in their chairs. Have you,
This is the
Have you
start.
tried one out here?
It's the start of an idea. You know, sitting out there, it's not the most, you know, glorious view of everything, because you're kind of sitting there, it's the bridge is right there. You can see under the bridge and see the water. It may be a little hard to see it, but you're gonna have problems seeing it, I think, sitting on anything.
what about a sitting bench?
But
Really, I keep bringing it up, but it's because I see people using them.
But the swing out here and the Adirondack chairs in the park.
Yeah.
there's swinging benches, two swinging benches literally across the park at the dam. You know, there are two over there, and this just splits the space into two different things. So,
There's somewhere over there.
I remember there was talk of a gazebo in the area, is that?
Where's
because, yeah, so that
That's
graded
still-
area is flat to put something prepped for something
Okay.
eventually.
I just remember that, I just remember that.
Yeah, any picnic tables or next to the Adirondack, a little chair, or the.
There's a couple
table?
picnic tables down at TPW that are, they're going to be repainted, that are nice enough to put out in the park.
Cool.
So instead of buying new, I just went down and seen if they were good, so. Yeah.
The reason why I'll stop it, because I just know people in the area, when we go past, sometimes we can't sit on a swinging bench because they're already being used, and I never hear someone saying, I'm so excited to go sit on a bench, but they'll say, oh, I wanna go swing for a little bit. But maybe there's also some accessibility reasons why benches also are better that I'm not aware of. So, I'm not saying we shouldn't have a mixture. I'm just saying, I hear time and time again of people using the swings.
If you want us to do more, we can do more.
Yeah.
We can come back with different pricing. We don't have to order these today. I don't know what's the lead time on it.
He said, oh, it was in the email, I'd have to go look at it.
6 to 8 weeks.
I think it was 8 weeks,
8 weeks.
yeah.
So we wouldn't be installing until next year anyway.
I don't know what the price difference would be too.
They give us pretty good deals, honestly. We've done stuff for the downtown, the bike racks match the downtown bike racks, they match the bike racks here. All these furnishings are from that, they're out of, the Town of Steel Matrax is out of Waukee, they manufacture them in Wisconsin. So they're really good at what they do, it's pretty quality stuff and we've had good success. So they'll be fair with us, I think. But yeah, there's always a price increase January 1.
And is that their last meeting before the new year, or do you think we'll meet in December? I mean, maybe it makes sense. Yeah, so I think matching, I think that was already said, having a match to this area, I can see that, unless there was a specific theme, coming off of what we just did at Selfridge, like a green that matched along this area, like a walkway to go with natural, but I don't know if there was like a natural green.
There we go.
Maybe, no. What about the one to the right of that? What about the one to the right of that? Is that kind of?
It is a lot prettier, yeah.
I mean, if that kind of matches it, ties it in, and we could see almost like a walkway from that area at some point. And I think, and yeah, I wish, can you ask this company if they also have swimming?
They do,
at some
they do.
point?
I've seen it on the website, but yeah,
To get a price comparison?
yes, they do. It's somewhere.
And the swinging bench is in there, it's in there, you'll find it in a minute here, I think it's on page 2. Right
There
there.
it is.
There she is. It comes in green.
So it's a grand moment.
how much, what is it? It's 3,500.
It's
Okay. So 50.
$1,400 more.
But people love them.
But right next to the path, not that you're gonna be swinging your feet.
You might need more space around that.
Yeah, there's not
I
that
wouldn't
much.
put it right there.
Yeah, you would be swinging right half the path right there.
I mean, those are the grass, just where
There, you are right, I would caution that keeping it too close to the path,
Yeah.
because everybody likes to swing with their feet up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see why not having it next to the path would be that great.
I don't even know if they put those chairs, because if you're walking the path and you wanna pause and sit, you're gonna sit on the
You're
back.
gonna sit on an Adirondack, you're gonna sit like I'm sitting right now, which has made
Like
it
that.
path.
I put the chairs on that point at Selfridge, like that concrete,
Uh-huh.
because you're gonna sit there and look at.
Yeah, the overlook area, if that's a good spot for the
Yeah,
I think
Adirondacks.
there's
Can the piers be bigger in Southbridge, put Adirondack chairs out on the pier?
I don't think we're gonna go that far. It's not-
Okay, we're
Um,
Actually, there's a limited amount of pew
The-
space that you can put over the water because it changes
Interesting.
the water,
Yeah, there's a whole,
changing the waterway and the path,
we can just do benches or we can do two different things, and the whole idea was to test out another thing. Certainly if it doesn't work here, we can always move them to the other
Move them
spot.
somewhere
That's a good point.
They would still be ours, wouldn't they?
Which is a
The,
plus for the matching colors.
Yeah.
Because then they can.
Then they can go anywhere.
no, that's the whole thing, I mean, if we work with
Bosch
Thomas.
recycled plastic mahogany ribbon it is.
Yeah.
It's galvanized.
Okay, another case for us. There you go.
Ashton and I just walked it, and we just were like, well, what can we do different, and what can kind of stand out and be a little more fun for Warner Park versus just a bench for the time being, and we thought the Adirondack chair thing with, the thing that sold me frankly, like when we started, when I looked at it, was they make kid ones now. And I think that when you have a bench, it's just more of an adult, thing where even little kids, they can't even get up into the bench, it's a pain, so if you have a little chair there, I think there's a uniqueness to that and an ability to sit there and see, be close to the water and have a water field. It's something we can do in the other park as well, or change it if it doesn't work the way
Okay.
intended, but,
Yeah.
Motion to go with mahogany and galvanized Adirondack benches.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Alright, was that the last of the site furnishings?
Yes.
And we're on to the park sign project.
Yeah, so I reached out to, it's been a while now, Bill Kinzinger at the high school, I think in March, and asked him if the high school had a class that could help make park signage. So my previous community, I worked with Ripon High School, and they made all our signs for the parks. So I wanted to do the same thing in Ripon. And I got a hold of John, their woodworking class teacher, and he said they have a CNC router, so they'd be able to do that for us. So this is, I'll just show you what the material. So this is an HDPE material. So it's a plastic. So it withstands weather, whatnot. It's not wood, it's not gonna fall apart like our current signs. And then the posts as well would have sleeves over them too. They're not painted or anything like that. So this is just the example to give you a visual of what the material is like. So I gotta pull it up. Okay, so these are, some of them are really ugly color choices. That's not on my part, that's the company. So not me. So here's all the color choices that they have. not shapes. We can do any shape our heart's desires because the high school's machine can cut out anything. So I'm just curious what your opinions are on colors. I see red as like stop signs. I don't, and then blue I see hospitals. That's what I think. Just curious what your opinions are. This is green. This is a nice dark green if you can't see it well. This kind of looks purple. It's not purple, it's blue. This is blue too, so. And this is a tan and green. It's kind of hard to tell. This one's just ugly. I won't go with that. We'll just go with it.
I like that one.
Yeah, they're.
Yeah, same.
The green.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so these all have different.
Is that round symbol next to Ripon something that is just a placeholder? Or is that something that is?
That is my rec logo, or not mine, it's not mine. The rec logo.
Yeah,
Oh.
That is our.
the rec symbol,
Yes,
I like it.
yes. And I made sure John said that their machine could cut it out because I was worried because it's pretty detailed in here, and he said that it would be able to. So each of these also has a different font. They're all different, but they look the same. So just curious what all your thoughts are on font-wise too. The address is all the same. It's just Barlow Park is different in every single one. So like here we have like thicker font, thinner font, taller. If you guys have a preference.
How big will it be?
So the signs are going to be coming in. So it's 4 by 10. Yes, and then it's split in half. So each sign, so like the rectangle is going to be 4 by 5, and then the high school will cut it to whatever size we want. So we don't have like a specific size set in stone, but that's going to be the base material is 4 by 5.
Are we gonna be consistent with all the parts?
Yes. So there's 5 sheets total. It's cheaper to get a gigantic sheet and then cut it in half.
Yeah.
So we're getting 5 sheets of 4 by 10, and then the school will cut it in half into 10 signs.
Bigger the better. I can't see.
I can make it.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Oh, like the actual sign, yeah.
who's at the start of the park?
Yes, yeah.
I think that, I guess, I would encourage you, I mean, this is your sort of vision, to have kind of a cohesive vision. You know, I mean, we just put that Ripon, Wisconsin on the water tower. So my guess is this is an image we plan to have for a long time. The last thing I want is dated signs, so if we're unsure that image, then I would just put, Ripon. But if you're sticking with that, and then a font, is there a similar font to the city? Is there an official, we have a new communications director, have they been consulted maybe? I just wanted to look cohesive, straightforward, and then, I guess you could put our website for the city on there, but you don't need to. I think, is there a purpose, like when people come and let's say they've rented out or they want to know where they're at, I like the idea of having the address on there.
Mm-hmm.
So that seems to make sense. We're talking about the pause, on the backside. Do you want to put a paw where their findings, the kids are going around? I mean, if this was an image you have, I think you could make that a feature, or it's just to kind of be professional, and that's good too. Is there?
The font of the address is the font that I use for the dogway stations and the disc golf course as well. So that is, the address font is universal. The other font, I don't think it's been used anywhere. So I don't know, I can see if there's a font that's.
Yeah, I don't think there's a.
A city font.
Yeah, that would have definitely been a hand.
The Ripon script logo thing, there's kind of a font there, but it's pretty unique.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's like a hand-drawn font. So, the closest to it, I think, would be that, or something that I think looks okay, or with it would be the green and tan, the one that's dark green.
This one?
Yeah, that right there.
Like a little more bolder?
Yeah, just a little bolder.
Yeah, I like the bolder one too.
I mean, are these all the fonts that are available?
Oh, there's a million fonts. I could have given you more, options, but that would have been a lot.
How about we,
What do we have now at the parks? What's the font?
Yeah.
Oh, God bless.
or I was just gonna say, I was just gonna say, how about we just order the plastic and
This
get
is-
it in?
this is the font.
and
That's carved,
Oh, ew.
that's carved font.
Yeah. Let's not do that.
then- Not that one.
What's that?
That's
It
just,
looks like impact.
Yeah, needs to be replaced.
yeah.
Right,
Even the fonts look dated.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I like that one too that you were talking about, and I was either thinking between that one or the one that was the green, but they're pretty much the same thing. Like,
They are very similar, I just liked that this one was a little bit more bold.
I do
mean,
too. I
if
do
you could
too.
just throw bold on that top
Mhm.
green one, it would probably be perfect.
Mhm.
Yes, and then shapes.
Oh, mine.
You don't.
I motion that you'll trust your judgment. Cause they're gonna have to all be the same.
Yes.
Yeah, they would all be the same. I kinda like the oval,
I like the oval.
you know?
I don't.
Oval?
You like the oval?
I like the oval.
Here's the actual in person as well.
Oh, it was
Here's
like
the
that.
sample.
I actually like that too.
Yeah, I don't like the.
Which
too
is-
oval. Like that, yeah.
This one?
Not
This one?
SS 140,
Not the smooth.
145.
I like 140 or 145.
What are these two you said?
Yeah. If you wanna have something a little fancier than an oval.
Wait, what did you say, 3? What are the, what?
Oh,
Three
yeah,
of
go
them.
ahead.
This is.
What was
Which
that?
was it?
140,
No, you said 3.
145, and 130.
But
Oh,
she
yeah.
said 3. What are the
Yeah,
3?
regular oval, 130.
If I said 3, I meant 2.
So, I mean, 130 is regular oval,
Yeah.
and then those two there.
Yeah, let's be honest, you don't want something that looks really almost like old fashioned, which
Yeah.
some of them do. So I think the 140 and the 145 look. Or even 170 with a little bit of the edges, right below it. You
Yeah.
know, the,
Oh, here.
that's, I don't know, it's fine too.
You want green with white, with bolder,
Mm.
and then whatever Ashton wants for a shape.
Sounds good.
You like these 3?
Sort of oval, but sort of fancier.
Okay.
Yeah,
Or
that
that.
one looks like a big eye.
We want a fancy oval.
Sounds good.
165.
You plan on doing all the parks?
There's 10 for Pedrick Wayside if you want to. Pedrick Wayside, Redmond, that sign's the absolute worst. Eagle has no sign. Murray Park still has no sign. Barlow, Selfridge, Ceresco. Murray would have 2. Barlow would have 2. Everybody else. All the others would have 1.
If you like 165, I mean, I could like that one too, but then I would say that hump on the top, maybe you just have the Ripon or, I mean, if you're gonna put your Park and Rec logo and Ripon, I think that looks a little bit funny.
Yeah, I don't think that,
We're
I
like-
don't think the logo would fit.
And are you
on top of that.
sure, I would be absolutely sure you like your Park and Rec logo, like if it's just something that's been fun, you've been put on, I mean, because I don't, I mean, like if you, however we brand this, we wanna make sure that 10 years from now, people don't think, oh, that was an old logo. And so.
I mean, are you saying like just use like Ripon, Wisconsin?
Yeah,
I mean, it's not. I can put it together and, yeah.
because then
I
that would
have-
look really nice on that hump, just Ripon, Wisconsin, and then whatever, you know, for the 165.
I have no personal like connection to that, like I didn't want it there, so it's okay. If I can put different examples together.
Yeah, I motion to throw a few examples together.
Yeah.
Unless you
And we'll
use the
vote on
one
it
with
next
the little, like 215, where you put your little
The
park and rec in that
little
little
park and rec
circle.
Or 220, I thought
Yeah.
actually would fit, because then
Well,
you
yeah.
put that little circle over the top, so.
There's
There's lots of options. This is a lot of options. Photoshop anymore.
Yeah. And then as well, I don't know if you guys know where, so Murray Park sign, if I understand correctly, was like right here before, right?
Yeah, they're around there.
So my thoughts were having one over here, because this is one of the main entrances due to the fact that the shelter's there, that a lot of people use, and having one somewhere yonder
Or
or
the
here.
somewhere.
Right here is that the contribution sign,
Yeah.
which
And
I
it was
was
right by that,
we need to do
yeah.
something. So I'm not, if you guys have a suggestion or thoughts on location wise too in Murray. There's like a spot over here next to, this is the flower bed right here. I don't know if we could do it to the left over here in front by the shelter, to the left of the flower bed. There's a lot of options, a lot of green space, but if you guys have that first.
What's up? Right past the senior center, like, go.
Oh, up, on the other side of it, you mean?
Oh, over
Yeah,
there.
like right there, cause it's not into the baseball.
Yeah.
There's,
And keep
So
in
you
mind,
gotta
keep in
always-
mind the intersection, just from driving, you
yeah,
know, I just,
Yeah, but there's so many signs, cause you have the senior sign.
This
There's
one
senior
needs-
sign.
the contribution sign, you have to do something. Have a different sign.
we'll figure it out.
Wherever you want.
Yes, okay. Okay. Sounds good. Wherever my. Okay.
But were you asking because you want to add another sign, is that's gonna increase the budget? Was that your
No,
answer?
no,
We're
it's
getting
a,
10.
yeah,
There's more
there's 10
information.
altogether.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's around 5,000, and I plan to apply for the Webster grant to hopefully fund the sign project.
Great.
Everything, material, the posts, the covers, it was just under $5,000, so. Mhm.
Director report?
I won't talk too much longer, but, oh, the ball diamond agreement. So the ball diamond agreement is expired, technically it's expired
End of this year.
end of this year. Well, it said September 2023 and it would renew for a year, so technically it's September 2024. But yeah, so we're gonna take a look at, I'm gonna do some research and take a look at, either other communities or, see it and talk with the ball diamond clubs to see if what we can do differently with the agreement. Because in 2025, there's money set aside for some ball diamond improvements, and we don't want to improve it and then have to essentially redo the same thing like in 2 years if it's not maintained properly. So just trying to add some verbiage, change some verbiage to make it so there's a maintenance plan or some sort of guideline that everybody has to follow the same plan, because a lot of the clubs will do maintenance on the fields differently. They all have different thoughts and on what they should do. So, yeah, I don't know if you have any input on that. So I'm just gonna do some research on that and we'll change that a bit if need be. We're currently just seeking out the PD's talking with some security companies. We walked around to the park, 3 of the parks, Murray, Barlow, and Selfridge, to get some options for cameras in the parks. This summer, especially while I was gone, and beforehand, there was a lot of vandalism to bathrooms. We had toilets kicked in. Both of these sinks on the new bathrooms were broken, now fixed, but they're both broken. Things smeared on the walls, whatever else. So I actually had the bathrooms locked 2 weeks earlier than last year, due to the fact that there was just a lot of increased vandalism and whatnot. So it wasn't that much earlier, but we did. Once the reservation stopped, we locked them up.
And you didn't even mention the bike repair kit, that the tools were stolen?
Oh, yes, yes.
And
those
also,
two-
there
yes.
have been swastikas painted on benches in our parks as well. So, I don't know if the statement only, I mean, it's just so sad that
It is.
Ripon
It's
would have
sad.
this issue.
Yeah, it's not, not saying I can't do anything about it, but it's not effective, but it's sad that that happens. But yeah, the bike repair station that Jolene, what group was it again?
Leadership Fund of that.
Yes, Leadership Fond du Lac group, they installed it, and over half the tools were taken. So now that brand specifically, it's over like $200 to replace just those 5 tools. So I'm trying to find some different alternatives to see if we can, put our own cable and then tools out there that's a bit cheaper than $200. So, looking into that too. So just an increase in all that, so it's sad, but, so I met with, Travis 2 days ago, and they have another one on tomorrow, giving tours of all the parks for that, so. We already talked about that. 13 more trees were planted, so that I think in total we have around 52 trees planted in the parks this year. So that's pretty cool, and all of them were either donated or through a grant, the trees that were planted. So through the DAR, individuals planting Access and Health, and then the grant through Alliant Energy that we got earlier this year. So, for programming wise, in December we have, programs coming up is the Run Santa Run 5K that we had last year, part of Dickens of Christmas. This year I added a few things to make it a bit more, I love 5Ks no matter what they are, but just to spruce it up a bit. So every mile we actually have a cookie station. There's, Roadhouse. Oh gosh, it's in Green Lake, the catering business, Crossroads. So they're sponsoring one, and then I'm in search of the other 2 to sponsor the cookie station. One of the bank employees is going to be the Grinch, and the first 20 people to beat the Grinch I have $25 gift certificates from local businesses. So the first 20 people to beat him get a gift card from one of the businesses I've received them from. And I've gotten $1,150 in sponsorships for the race, a total of $370 in gift cards from local businesses to go towards the top finishers and the Grinch runners. And then $200 in in-kind donations too. So that's all going well for the 5K. Letters to Santa starting back up to on November 29th, coming up here so soon. I'm not doing it here this year, I'm actually doing it at the library because the library has way more foot traffic when it comes to kids. Seniors are not dropping off their letters to Santa. And we have a very specific set of hours here that's not as broad as the library. So I'm bringing it down to the library this year. Deck the City just posted that today, the holiday outdoor lights competition for people in the city, where I post the interactive Google map and people can follow along and vote for their favorite houses. We're doing that again. And then a program with the library also called Campaign Day that we're collaborating with the library and the local Girl Scout group in December too. So programming wise, that's what's coming up. And then working on, I reached out to Jason already, working on 2025 programming to get instructors or whatever else I need taken care of now, and verifying that people want to participate in same programs next year. As now that will be starting on year 2. Yes, year 2. 3, oh dear Lord. 3. Now I have a more clear, not realization, but expectation of what people like and want, and there's some programs I won't be doing anymore because of how number-wise they weren't good enough, stuff like that, so now I have a better base of what will run in 2025, so that's good. Yeah, that's my update. Not that much.
Cool. So that was Parks and Rec and project updates.
Yeah.
Suggestions for agenda items for next meeting. New sign design?
What was that?
Suggestion for next agenda meeting, new sign design.
Yes, I did that. Yeah.
It's 6:30 p.m.
We're on silent, doesn't stop on us.
And then next meeting we'll.
Do we want to try to set something, or, do you think do we have to meet before the end of the year?
Yeah, it just depends. I don't,
I can shoot you guys an email.
we'll need it.
Yeah.
And just with the holidays coming up, it'd be good to, I don't know.
Yeah, December's probably in this for a lot of us.
If we have anything, we can try to get it together, but in early December, but once you get past the second week in December, it's not worth it, so.
Yeah.
Or you can wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess as far as cost of anything, if we're ordering anything different, you said there'd be costs after the beginning of the year, but is there any other orders that have to get in? Okay, okay.
Well, then I'll call to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?